Hi everyone, Magnus here, bringing back the live explained rapid chess series, except this time with a little twist. And that twist is that I'd like to involve you guys a little bit more than I previously have. And the way that I'm going to do this is by asking you to leave a comment with your chess.com username, and I'll pick one of you at random to play in the next explained rapid chess video. That way you can really get like some personalized experience on your games, and I'll do a review and let you guys know what I think could have been done better. So if you are interested in this, please do leave a comment, but let's get right into the game. Alright, so we have a pairing with a 2300 from America. It's a serious player. Let's try and play pawn to e5. Keeping it simple, I'm going to defend the pawn with my knight. It was just attacked by theirs. Put my pawn in the center to try and take some space. Bishop comes out, pressuring my knight. Play knight f6. I'm counter-attacking their pawn, and I'm going to capture it. They want to put their rook on the open file. I'm retreating the knight to d6, hitting their bishop. Kind of have to exchange knights here. I'll explain why in the post-game analysis if you guys stick around for that. And after they capture with their rook, I'm going to play bishop to e7. They play bishop back to f1. Basically, their bishop is now under attack. They move it all the way back, and they can move their rook back. They can fianchetto their bishop in the future, but also they just want to start expanding with their pawns. I'm going to castle. Pawn d4 is pretty common. Rook e1 also common. Let's go bishop to f6 and knight to f5 to attack this pawn in the center. c3 would make the most sense to me. And then let's go d5. I want to liberate my light squared bishop, and they're going for bishop to h4. Now, there's actually this very interesting idea that I came across, and that is the move knight to h4. And the point of this move, knight to h4, is that it kind of stops their natural development of their knight from going to f3, because if their knight ever goes to f3, then I'll have bishop to g4, right? So I'm just going to keep trying to play normal chess moves like c6, make the most sense to me. We can go queen b6 if we want. Their knight still can't really get out. And they do go for the move knight to f3. Now bishop to g4 makes a fair bit of sense. Bishop to g4. They have to go bishop to e2 now to avoid being worse. And let's capture, and then probably go queen b6. And we should be slightly better here, hitting the pawn, because they have the pawns on the dark squares and we have the pawns on the light squares, and we have a dark squared bishop. And what that means is that our bishop can more easily maneuver around our pawns. So you really don't want to exchange this bishop ideally, because the best case scenario from this position would be something like a same colored bishop endgame. That would be absolutely amazing for us. There's also the move c5 that looks pretty interesting to me. They're obviously trying to control e8 so that I can't play the move rook e8, which is reasonable. Let's just play g6 for now and try and get my king some breathing space. g6, generally you don't want to put your pawn on the opposite color of your bishop, because then your opponent can try and put their bishop here. But with our bishop also being on the dark squares, I'm not too bothered here. Let's just make sure not to blunder a checkmate with the move rook e8. I'm probably just going to put my rook here, maybe my other rook here, and go c5. Also a5, a4, trying to go for something like that makes a lot of sense. Let's start trying to expand on this side of the board. If I can induce this pawn to a4, then maybe my queen can jump in to the b3 square and start to pose some problems for my opponent. So that looks pretty annoying. Also, there's ideas of g5 in the future. This is in the long run, the endgames kind of situations, but I've seen a lot of people get caught out with this move when they aren't expecting it. Okay, so here I'm assuming their idea is rook to e3. I have c5. I can defend from the back. Looks a little sketchy, but I'm going to go for it. I don't see any reason not to. If rook goes to f3, I also don't have a problem there. So let's go c5. c5, idea is that after they take, then I have this move d4 as well, which kind of just tears at the position. So let's play it, trying to liberate my bishop. And if they go rook e4, just queen c6 should keep things simple. And I do have bishop to c5 here, just attacking their piece. Also, maybe I should drop back with queen c6 just to guard my own pawn first. I guess after queen here, there's no queen f3, which is nice, because that would be how they would continue to apply pressure to this pawn. There is queen to c4. Queen c4 could be a threat then. So after here, queen c4, I have to come up with a move. Rook here maybe. Ooh, it looks a little bit sketchy. I don't like it very much. Okay, I didn't like this move because there's rook takes. But then I have rook e8 and queen d2. I can take and then go rook here. Then after the queen moves back, let's say to d2, I have check, right? That looks pretty dangerous. Their back rank could come under fire. Let's go for it. This move rook c7. Actually, rook c7. No, rook c7 doesn't make sense. I just go rook e8 again. So they could potentially come under quite a bit of trouble. We're controlling e8 from afar. Okay, this looks really, really weird now. Surely rook e8 puts you in trouble. No, I don't like the look of what they're doing. I don't think this is very good. Let's go rook e8. We're covering e7. There's no rook e7. No, this looks very dangerous because now I can just exchange rooks and then capture. Okay. I think my opponent might have blundered. We got the optimal setup with the pawns on the light squares, bishop on the dark square. We made some nice trades. Obviously positions equal, but you got to poke and prod sometimes. And when we claim the pawn, you try to make some imbalance. As you can see, our pawns are slightly easier to defend than their pawns. And we claimed a pawn up, and in exchange, if they want to win a pawn back, they have to make some big concessions in giving us the e-file. So yeah, I think that was pretty straightforward. By the way, I don't know if I've already mentioned it in this video, but I'm going to be cutting out bits where my opponent's just thinking and I don't really have anything else to add. Hopefully that can shorten down the video and try to make things more concise for you guys. And let me know in the comments if you prefer this or if you like playing along yourselves and maybe don't want these bits to be cut out so that you can have some time to think. But do let me know your preference. Also, in terms of playing you guys, I think it could potentially be even more educational if we get people from different rating scales, because I can literally only play -400 from my current rating at most, because chess.com still doesn't let me do a speedrun because I'm not partnered with them. So that means that I'm restricted to basically playing players of 2000 plus. And I know a lot of people watching probably aren't 2000 plus, and the main goal of people probably is to try and get up to 2000. So for that reason, I think it could be beneficial to play all kinds of players between like 800 to 1000, and then like 1000 to 2000 to try and see what everyone else is up to. Okay, so they give me a check defended by the bishop. Let's move the king over to the corner. Same ideas here. And okay, after this here, let's see. I've got bishop. I always have bishop f8 at the end of the lines as well. I mean, is it just as simple as trade queens and then bishop f8 should win? I think. Okay, if I were to take this rook, is this any better? Queen moves to d2. Wait, the queen doesn't move to d2. The queen has to move to c1. Or to b8. And then bishop f8 there as well. I mean, both lines look winning. I'm kind of tempted to leave queens on the board, I think. Let's trade rooks and play rook e8 and then go bishop f8. Queen c1, and if I take their bishop, they can't take back with the queen because there's back rank, so yeah, they just don't have time to do anything. Bishop f8. No queen c3 because it's mate. So yeah, really just one little weakness they had in the position, the back rank. Let your eye off the ball with the e-file, and it all comes crumbling down. Let's capture the rook. That looks like a free rook to me. I'll take it. And yeah. Okay, let's play queen d7. That makes. Oh wait, no, we don't even have to play queen d7. They just hung a queen. Yeah, I was just about to say, I've actually made this same exact blunder as they did. This kind of queen c3, where you're like, I'm pinning the bishop, but then you forget that like actually the bishop just moves down and takes the queen. That's always pretty funny. Okay, let's take a quick look at the game review. Take a look at the game review. Wow, 77 accuracy. That is not great. Apparently there were a bunch of mistakes that were made after the opening theory. This is all reasonable. I think this makes sense as far as the initiative goes. I'll explain move by move what's going on here. White plays bishop to b5, tries to undermine this e5 pawn by putting some pressure on the knight. Ideally, white can play like d3, take the knight, and then take the pawn, and then white will be up a pawn. But I play knight to f6, I counterattack their pawn in the center, white castles, sacrificing the pawn, but getting the rook to the open file, where it will then x-ray attack my e5 pawn, and white can win it back. White gives me the pawn, I retreat the knight, attacking the bishop, so that I can try and force the issue. If I can get them to take, for example, I'll be very happy here, because I will have the two bishops and nice, easy development for my pieces, and black is doing better. So instead, they capture the pawn here. I have to take back, or I can play bishop to e7. I don't really like bishop to e7 as much, but it often transposes anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I just capture, go bishop e7, and they play the move bishop to f1, because now the bishop is under attack. If they were just to play a move like pawn to d4, I will happily capture your bishop, play a move like d5 and c6, and black is considerably better with the two bishops. So they play bishop to f1, I castle, getting my king out of the pin, and then I go bishop to f6, attacking their rook, sending it back, and then I can play knight to f5 to start to put pressure on their pawn, which they just put there. I go d5, bishop comes out, and this weird looking move, knight to h4, which if you do look at the database, this is actually one of the most successful ones. Played 32 times, black wins 19% of the time and 72% draws. c6 is the most common move, but knight to h4 is always is an interesting try because it stops one of white's most natural developments with knight to d2. I go c6. Still the most common move, knight to f3, bishop g4, bishop e2. And we see this big exchange on f3, followed by queen b6. And I don't think queen b6 was necessarily a great move here. I think queen b6 was probably a bit inaccurate. Probably what you need to do is just start exchanging pieces, go queen d7, try and beeline for this bishop versus bishop endgame as quickly as possible, and grind that one out, because like I mentioned earlier, our pawns are on the light squares, theirs are on the dark squares, so if anyone has endgame winning chances, it's black. Alright, so queen b6, queen e2, g6, just trying to get some luft here. g6 also initiates bishop h6, which I don't really think did that much. Queen f3 would have apparently been a good move, I guess. Yeah, bishop g7 takes, and then rook e7. Could have been a little bit unpleasant. I have to play something like rook f8. So I guess, yeah, like queen f3. And if bishop g7, then takes. And white's putting some pretty serious pressure on. So I would have had to play a move like rook to d6 to guard. And it wouldn't have been the end of the world. This queen d8, I can reconsolidate, but it's definitely a little bit unpleasant. My opponent misses it. I try and start expanding. And then I go just pawn grabbing, which is pretty greedy behavior. They go for this rook move, and the only move c5 we have to be able to defend the e8 square. There's a capture, and then I go for this move, which is pretty ambitious, I thought. But I didn't think rook e4 was very... Actually, no, rook e4 makes sense because it just pins it. I was going to say I didn't think it was good because I can retreat and attack the pawn, but then they would take and defend the pawn. So yeah, that was a mistake. And rook e4 again is apparently strong. But yeah, they ended up blundering. Rook b7 also would have been unpleasant because of this move. I thought they were not in a great spot, but oh, they have queen e5. Ooh, no. That would have been very bad, actually. I would have had to go for this. Wait, but then my opponent would just play king h1, actually. What is this? Okay, these are some pretty complicated lines, actually. But yeah, definitely played them a little bit inaccurate. I'll keep this in mind for next time. g6 is not the best approach then. Also, yeah, queen b6 just doesn't make sense. I can't be going for these pawns on the queen side when the center has so many of white's active pieces, and you can start an attack pretty quick. So that's definitely something to keep in mind for the next game. And yeah, so other than that, we had one blunder from the opponent, and bishop to f8 is simply game over. So anyway, if you guys did enjoy this video, find it helpful in any way, try to learn some things from it, please do consider liking and subscribing. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.